We have Matt Irwin from Express Docs on. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Can you hear me all right?
I can.
Perfect. Been a minute since I used Zoom, so bear with
Okay.
me.
Yeah, it was perfect. We can see your screen. So yeah, I'll let Matt, you introduce yourself and then just let everyone know if someone has questions, how you want to handle it. But otherwise, it's being recorded, so we'll share this out, and we always get a lot of watches for the replay. So let's get started and do your thing, Matt.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name's Matt Irwin. I'm with Express Docs, and I've been with Express Docs for maybe 16 years now. And I oversee the Anywhere accounts. So ERA is obviously part of that. Today, I'm just going to kind of touch on everything Express Docs and do a quick demo. We have some new things. ERA has some new designs if you haven't been in the account in a while. I'm really hoping not to take up too much of your time. I know how busy you guys are. And the whole purpose of Express Docs is to allow you to get in and get out quickly. So typically my demos do not take too long. I like to keep them pretty light. This isn't heart surgery by any means. So if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself. If it's something that I'm talking about currently, you can use the chat functionality. I'll be honest, sometimes I get into my little rhythm and I miss the chat when it comes in, but we'll obviously loop back around and make sure that we get everything. And then at the end, we'll open it up, see what questions everybody has. So first things first, we're going to talk about how to access the platform. So we are integrated with ERA Leverage. So what that means is if you log into Leverage and you click on the Express Docs link, you're going to have a single sign-on that takes you directly into your account. You're not going to need a secondary username, a password, or anything like that. And when you click on it, you're going to land on a page that looks just like this. I am in one of your agents' accounts now. So we can kind of really show how it works using some of the different tools, things that we've built along the way to make your life a little easier. So I'm going to walk through one really from start to finish. Then I'm going to touch on my listings. I'll jump into APM. We'll talk about two of our newest programs, that being XD Plus, and the absolute newest is scheduled campaigns, which only launched maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So I do have a little slide here, just talking about the importance just of direct mail. I know that's what a lot of people think of when they think Express Docs, but I'll point out all the different things that we do and offer as well. But I do always want to just let you know that direct mail still works. It's still important. And there is definitely a benefit to not just doing social, not just doing emails, but integrating direct mail as well. So you can see the stats on the screen itself. So I won't regurgitate them to you. But you can see combining and doing multiple channels of marketing is going to be your best benefit. All right. So without further ado, let's talk about our homepage. What we have here are all of our different tiles. So these are really kind of separated from categories. So, it's a quick browse to find the section that you want to get into, whether it is XD Plus, whether it's scheduled campaigns, whether it's property marketing, such as postcard flyers, brochures. We have your business cards, Spanish templates. And as you continue down, we do yard signs, we have seasonal marketing, and I'll show a little bit that towards the end. It's just really anything farming, things like that. Baseball schedules as the season's just underway. Football schedules when it gets started, if you want to send that out to your sphere. We have promotional products. As we keep coming down, if you sign up for XD Plus, which I'll focus on a little bit more, we have social media downloads, things like that. And then we have your upload your owns. We know that we're not going to have everything that you need. But we are going to give you the ability, if you can, to pull the art, create the art on your end, upload it into our system, and we'll print, mail, print, ship, whatever it is that you give us. Typically on these types of demos, what I'm going to do is walk through a postcard from start to finish, simply because putting together a postcard is very similar to putting together anything in our template. We're template based, everything maps very specifically. But what I want to get into with postcards, where we get most of our questions, is address lists. So that's why I kind of jump into a postcard. So I'm going to go to property marketing. I'm going to click on postcards here, and then you're going to get your different options. Don't be fooled that they all say just sold or just say just listed. Everything is variable. So you're driving these headlines, you're typing in your text that you want to go on the card. So this just sold can be just listed as well. I'm going to go ahead and select the one that I want. And it's going to pop up, get a little bit bigger for us to view. And then you're going to have some back options here. These back options are going to be for 2 agents if you're working with somebody, a single agent if you're working on your own, and then a team option if you're working with a team. The biggest difference between the team is it's more of a rectangular box meant for 2 people side by side, where the other ones are a little bit more of a vertical meant for a single agent. I'm going to say I'm working on my own. Then I'm going to move over to my options here. So we have our mail, ship, first class standard. Do you want any coatings? All these types of options. If you're wondering what the pricing is, go ahead and click on this and you'll get all the pricing. So it's tiered, obviously, like most things. The more you order, the more that you're going to get. So the pricing that you see here includes first class mail. The pricing you have here includes standard mail. That means we're giving it to the post office and it's going directly to the homes. And then you have your shipping. We're just giving it to FedEx and you want to deliver to your home. All right. I'll talk a little bit more about the differences of first class and standard mail on one of the next screens. So we're going to come down. You have your coding. I typically just tell people to stick with the gloss coating. It's free. I think it brings out the color, protects it a little bit through the mailing process. It's completely recyclable. However, if you don't want it, go ahead and select none. And then you can upgrade your coatings as well. And most of these coatings are, when you see that Postal Protect, it's a coating made to slide better through the post office machines to help avoid burn marks. Burn marks is when the machines are too tight. It kind of scrapes the front of the card. So we've actually made a kind of coating that can help with that. I'm going to say gloss coating. I'm going to go straight into customize. And I'm going to say start a new order. And then I'm going to name my order. I typically just tell people something that you can remember, just in case you have to come back to it later. You want to do a reorder or something along those lines. And I'll just do something like the address, 48 Legend Road. You have contact information and things like that. But I'm going to scroll past all this. We'll have our return address and kind of get into the guts of the system. This is where you're putting the card together. So the first thing I want to do is I've already got a headshot. Once you upload that in the system, it's going to remain there. But I'm going to add a photo. It's just like attaching an attachment to an email, but I'm actually attaching it to Express Docs. And let's see, 01010101, there it is. Open, continue. And I'll touch a little bit on this where you're going to see high quality. Within our system, we're going to do our best to kind of tell you what we think of your photos. Now, it's an educated guess. It is a guess based off the file size that you're uploading into our system. You really don't want to go to the MLS or go to Zillow or something along those lines and pull this little thumbnail onto your desktop and upload it into Express Docs. The rule of thumb that I typically say is you want your picture that you're uploading into our system to be the same size or bigger than the picture box that you're uploading it into. This is a large postcard. That picture box is, a large postcard is 8.5 by 5.5 inches. So if your picture's that size or bigger, it's going to work just fine on this. If it's smaller, we have to stretch it out to fill out the picture box and it become blurry. You ever have any questions about how something's going to print, scroll up to the top. You're going to get all of our contact information. You can call us, chat us. We can log into your account, take a look at it. But what you don't want to do is place the order and then come back to us after the fact and say, do you mind looking at this? We are printing within about 10 to 15 minutes after an order is placed. But what that allows us to do is, if we're shipping it to you, give your order to FedEx the same day or mail it the next day. So we are printing and getting these out of our building very quickly. So I'm going to come back down. We've got our picture. We've got all of our boxes here where we can fill out. Just going to kind of put some stuff in here so you can kind of see where it all goes. And then we're going to give it a proof. Now you got your contact information here. So you'd fill all this out, and I won't fill it all out. Fill it out as you need. And then we've got bedrooms, we've got bathrooms, we've got square footage, and every template's different from what you're putting in. And I want this to be sold. All right, now I'm going to come down and I'm going to proof my order. When you proof your order, this is where, if anything doesn't look right, you want to reach out to us or you want to make changes, because we're going to show you exactly what it is that we're going to print. So if something doesn't look right, make your change, reproof. So we're going to pull in the picture. We've got your logo on file already. We've got the price, address, just sold. Everything looks good. I'm just going to click my customer agreement and I'm going to continue on. If I want to make changes, scroll up, make my changes, and reproof the order. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And now we're going to get to that address list page, that kind of section that I talked about where we kind of get the majority of our questions. If we are mailing it for you, you need to tell us, where you want us to mail it to. And we do have several different options. Some I will discuss, and another that I'll kind of show you specifically, because that's probably the one that is used the most. So we've got our first class standard option again. The biggest difference here is the amount of time that it takes to get it. We'll give it to the post office in the same amount of time, but first class mail takes 3 to 5 business days to arrive at the home. Standard mail can take anywhere from 5 to 15 business days to arrive at the home. If it's ever time sensitive, it is a open house, something along those lines, I strongly suggest using first class mail because you have a little bit more control about when it can arrive. If it's a just sold like this one, it's not overly time sensitive. I want to save a little bit of money. I'm going to go ahead and use standard mail. Then I'm going to create my address list. We can upload a list. That means you have your sphere of influence. You're going to upload it into our system, and we're going to mail exactly where you want us to. We're going to cast certify it. We're going to NCOA it. All that really means to you is we are going to do our best to validate the list to make sure that we are not sending to homes that do not accept mail. We have our radius list, which I'll walk through. That's the most popular. Basically, you're putting in a central point, and we're doing a circle around it to pull addresses. And you're just typing in the number that you want to send out. Street list, a little more specific. You're putting in the streets that you want to go to. Maybe it's a waterfront property or something along those lines, and you want to stick to that. Type in the individual streets. We'll pull the addresses. Demographic, age, income, how long someone's lived somewhere, those types of things. EDDM, which stands for every door direct mail. This is where you're not sending out 50 postcards or even 100 postcards. It's probably going to be a couple hundred postcards. But with it, you save 6 cents per mailing. But what you're doing is sending to postal routes. So wherever the postman or woman is delivering mail, you're saying, I want to put a postcard into every single one of those mailboxes. But like I said, radius for just listed, just sold, open house is by far the most popular. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on it. And all we're going to put in is the address that we want to go around. We're going to say we want to go to single family only, and I'm going to send out 100. And I'm going to go ahead and hit search. When I hit search, it's going to give us our results. So This is my neighborhood, so I'm familiar with all of these streets. We're going to give you the start house. We're going to give you the end house, the zip code, and how many houses are going, or how many houses on each street we're mailing to. If everything looks good, we can go ahead and hit next. If we wanted to, we know that there's a competitor realtor that lives on one of these streets. We can click on the icon here and we can actually remove it and edit it. But keep in mind, if you take one out, we're not adding one back in. So if you think you're going to have to take one out, but you want to send out 100 because that gives you a price break or something like that, do your search for a couple more so you have that wiggle room to actually remove some. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And I'm going to hit agree to terms, but I'm going to talk about the importance of the options on this page. It's often overlooked, but what you choose here helps the deliverability of your card. We can address it to just Matt Irwin at 48 Legend Road. But typically what I suggest is, if you're not living in a seasonal area that's out of season, is adding or occupant, resident, or homeowner after their name. So it would be addressed to Matt Irwin or resident at 48 Legend Road. The reason I say that is, we all get our mail, and often it's addressed to resident. That's meaning they want it to go in the mailbox. If the postman or woman knows that Matt Irwin moved 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it may be, it doesn't need to go into the mailbox. However, if it has or resident, it goes into the mailbox. Ultimately, that's what we want. So I'm going to say add or resident, and I'm going to go ahead and create my list. And just like that, I have created my list. And I somehow lost the chat functionality. I can't find it anymore. So, Wayne, do we have any chats at this point?
Nothing yet. So,
okay, let me see if I can find it again real quick. Sorry. You know what? I just don't know where it went. All right, we'll proceed. All right, so I've got standard mail. I've made my list. And the other option that you're going to have here is, do you want a seed card? A seed card is a card that we're going to mail out to whatever address that you want. The default is going to be your office address because that's all we have. But that's so you get a physical copy of it. I do suggest getting the seed card. One, when it arrives, what it looked like. But also it's something that you can save. You can show who you're working with. This is what I do for my properties and things like that. So I'm going to keep that on. I'm going to kind of scroll on down. I'm going to simply hit proceed to checkout. And then you're going to have a promo code. If we have one running, type it in. It can save you some money. Hit agree, enter your credit card information, and simply check out. If I was to place this order right now, we would print it today and we would give it to the post office tomorrow morning. And with standard mail, because it's a just sold, it should arrive in about 5 to 15 business days. We do everything from Texas, so we are central. So keep that in mind when you're choosing first class or standard. But it should show up anywhere from about 5 to 15 business days from tomorrow. All right. That is kind of putting together a card from scratch. Probably still use more than the bells and whistles that we've done, but I do want to show those to you because we do have a listing feed that we get from anywhere that allows you to map MLS data to a postcard to kind of streamline you putting something together. And you can use that on any property item, whether it's a flyer, brochure, 8x8, any of those items, we can actually use it. So I'm going to return back to my homepage and I'm going to hover over my listings. Now, if for some reason you click on here and you do not see any of your listings, let us know. Let us try and figure out why your listings aren't mapping to your account so you can take advantage of some of these tools. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to select this first one here. And I'm going to say I want to create a marketing material. I'm going to hit continue. Now it's going to ask me to select what I want to actually make. And I'm going to select the same thing I did before so you can kind of see how it works. There we go. Come down. I'm going to hit customize. All that kind of looks similar. But now this is going to take a little bit longer to load because what we're doing is pinging the server. We are going to try and grab all the pictures, the verbiage you put in, and ultimately pre-populate your template. All right. So I'm going to come down now without having done anything. I have my headshot. I have my picture. We've filled out the address. We've pulled the town. We've pulled the price. Keep coming down. We've pulled the description. We don't have a headline, so we'd want to put that in, but we've pulled the description. Keep in mind, keep an eye on the description. I say this because you can see here that we are negative 65 characters. With the MLS, you can type in more than potentially a postcard can hold, which means if this gets too far in the negative, you're going to want to edit it. You're going to want to take something out because the only thing that we can do to fit that text is to shrink it. If it shrinks too much, it's going to become hard to read. We'll give you a font warning if it gets below 8.5, but font sizes are every individual has a different opinion about it. I'm fine with 8 and 8.5, but other people may think that's way too small. So keep an eye on that. And as we come down, we have all the contact information. We've pulled the bedrooms. We didn't get the bath, but we got the square footage, the year it was built. It's just listed. And without doing anything, I'm just going to go ahead and generate my proof. And after this, everything is the same that I've already done. So all we've really done here is we are mapping property information to a template on your behalf. I typically say we can get you about 90% of the way there, and you just kind of have to clean up to 10%. Once this decides to pop for me, I'll give you a little trick about that font size that I like to use. Because when you're looking at a computer, often it can be deceiving, one, maybe look too small, but it's fine, or look too big, and it's actually small. So if this comes up, not, I'll refresh here in a second. Let's try this again here. Generate proof. Well, always seems to happen when you're doing a demo here. All right. Well, ultimately, it would proof just like we proofed the other one. But what I typically would suggest if you are unsure about that font size is there's a little PDF icon to the left. You can click on that. And if you know the postcard size is 8.5 by 5.5 inches, fold a piece of paper in half, hold it up against your screen, make the business card the same size, or make that PDF the same size so you can get a true idea of what it's going to print like. But as always, if you're unsure, reach out to us. We'll log in. We'll take a look at it. All right. I don't know what's going on here, but that's using my listings. So I'm going to jump out of this, and I'm actually going to jump into APM. APM stands for Automated Property Marketing. It's another way that we use the MLS, but even less steps that you have to take because it's going to make your address list for you. You can set defaults. You'll get an email that you can look on your phone, place it while you're up in open house, things like that. So if I go to programs, I click on APM, you're going to have a gallery in here. So you can access it at any point in time by logging in. But if you're subscribed to the program, you'll get an email. By subscribing to the program, all that is doing is controlling the email that goes out. If you're not subscribed, you can always just log in and take advantage of it. All right. So since I don't get the email, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this little icon right here. And it's going to load this event. So with this particular property, it's asking what all do I want? Do I want a postcard? Do I want a brochure? Do I want a flyer? Do I want to do a Facebook ad? Do I want to do an image download? Do I want to do a social media? You can select or unselect anything that you want. If you just want to do a postcard, make it a postcard, hit start customizing. And just like before, it's going to ping our server and it's going to populate our postcard for us. And you're going to see what this does a little bit differently than what my listings does. All right, so just like that, it has pulled multiple pictures for us because that's the default template. That's the front. if I take a look at the back, we have pulled the information. Now, this is a little bit different than my listings. My listing is going to put all your MLS text in there, and it is going to shrink it to fit it. We did something a little bit different that I always have to point out because I don't want you to miss it, is we are cutting it off. That means if your MLS we deem is too long, we are going to cut it off. You can see this ends at call. So we'd want to go in there and make changes on it. It was kind of pick your poison. So we've kind of tried this. So if I go edit, I can go in and I can actually just click in here and I can actually make any changes that I need to. I can add my back headline, update my contact information. And anytime that you're going to make any changes, you're going to have to save it again. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save again. And we're just going to say that the postcard looks exactly like I want. And I'm going to collapse my order options. We have already made that radius list that I showed for you. We did it to 50. Maybe you want to send out more. You can just type in 100. You've got your sample card, your first class standard option, your coding options, all the things that we've discussed. And I can go straight into the checkout now. Just like that, save and continue, enter a promo code if I have one, and simply check out. So, like I said, the way that you get this is either via email if you subscribe, and I'll show you that shortly, or access it from your account. But you can see how quickly you can get through an order, whether it's a postcard or a flyer or a brochure, because we're going to map all that information to it. Now, one of the things that you want to do if you want to take advantage of it is set your profile. The reason you want to set your profile is it's just one less thing that you've got to touch within the system. So if I go to APM here, I've got an APM profile option that you can see here. I'm going to go ahead and click into it. Set your contact information. Get your headshot uploaded. Do you want to include or resident? And then if you collapse the postcards, you're going to see kind of the default options that we have. So we have 4 different triggers that we will create an order on your behalf. It's new listing, it's price change, it's open house, it's sold. If you don't like the template, click on change template and you can select a different template as your default. So it's not something you actually have to do in the order. If you always want to use first class mail, select first class mail. If you always want to use coding, make sure coding is selected. And then one of the features that I do like about this is you can override the MLS comment should you choose to. I don't think for new listings it's overly necessary because that's really where you want to talk about the house. Maybe price change, open house, but the sold, you're probably not really going to want that MLS information. So what you can do is type in, I've just sold this house in your neighborhood. I can do the same for you. Please give me a call, something along those lines. And every time that we get a sold, we can pull that blurb into the card so you're not having to type it in. If you know you like to send out 100 cards for each listing, 150 for each sold, go ahead, make your changes. And just like we did for the postcard, you can do that for all the different items that you see below. Once everything is done, scroll down to the bottom. And if you want to, and this says unsubscribed and you want to get those emails, just go ahead, click here, subscribe for the program, and save everything. And just like that, we'll start firing off emails for you. And you can take advantage of our APM system. All right. Before I kind of touch into some of the newer items that we have, are there any questions about putting together a postcard using my listings or APM? Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's just knowing that it's there for you. And once again, sorry, when I just don't know where the chat function went.
No, you're good. No chat, but if anybody has any questions and just wants to unmute, we'll give you a few seconds to do that. Otherwise, we'll keep going.
Yes, and we're nearing the end here. But there are 2, maybe 3 different things that I just kind of want to focus on. All right. So, well, real quick. So my orders, so anytime that you start an order and you save it, you have to head out. You haven't been able to get it done. You can find it in your pending section. Then we also have our order history. That's anything that you've placed. Maybe you want to do a reorder because you want to order it again. Maybe you want to get the tracking on it. Even when you do a mailing, we are going to give you tracing information. So you can kind of follow that postcard to know when it should arrive. And you can find all that in your order history. All right. So we also have XD Plus. This is a subscription-based program that comes with some different things depending on what you want. You have your monthly subscription and you have your annual subscription. Typically, what I kind of do is, if you are a user Express Docs or you plan to use Express Docs, just kind of run the numbers. To sign up for the annual subscription, for example, cost $99. I'll just call it $100. It's $100. $100 for a year. But look at what you're getting with it. You're getting 250 business cards, and that's every year that you're subscribed, you get that. That's $32.50 worth of value. You're getting flash sales, so special discounts. If you're doing mailings with us, those radius lists and street lists I talk about, those are typically 5 cents an address. With this, it becomes free. And as you continue down, you can see what all other options come with it. If you're placing a reasonable size order on your very first order and you don't have a discount code, just for signing up, you get 15% off. You can literally pay for the subscription potentially just by signing up and using that discount code. So just go through this, look at it, see if it makes sense, run the numbers. But it can add up quickly if you are placing a couple orders or a few orders with Express Docs. All right. So that's XD Plus, and it also comes with the ability to access the templates and the downloads that are available in here. You heard me mention before that we have some downloads. So if you need some content to post to your social medias, Instagram, things like that, you can come in here and you'll have access to download these out of our system. And that's included in your subscription. So there's no cost for it. You're just downloading a JPEG or PDF and doing what you wish with it. All right. The newest thing that we have that I mentioned launched maybe only 2 weeks ago, and it's been a gap in Express Docs. So I'm glad we finally have something like this, is a scheduled campaigns. What this allows you to do is set up to a year's worth of mailers. So if you have a sphere that you want to keep up with, once a month for a year or 4 times a year, something along those lines, and you don't want to come into Express Docs and place it each time, you can actually schedule that campaign. And this is mostly going to be like home tips and things like that, but you can view what every card is going to be. You come through, you can kind of read about it, things like that. But we're going to go say that we do want to enroll. So you can see here, we're now into May because the April deadline is already passed, but you can click on it. You can see what's going to be included. You'll have your contact information. You have a blurb that you can put in here as well. But you have the ability to select what you want. So let's say I only wanted to send out 4 postcards for the rest of the year to my sphere. I can actually deselect the ones that I don't want to send. So maybe I just want to send one in June and let's see, July and August and December. Just like that, I've set it and I can continue on to the personalization. So like I said, click on here if you want to see what they're going to look like, but you're going to make sure your contact information is on there, things like that. And then you have your blurb. It can be the same blurb on every month, or you can change it. You can use what we already have in there if you want as well. But that's that area on the back side of the postcard that you can customize. Come through, move into the distribution. Probably you're uploading a list, or you might do, more farming, trying to hit a sphere a couple times. Select your list, create your list, upload your list. And I'll go ahead and select the list here so you can see the price. So what this price is giving me here is the price per execution. Before we do an execution for you, you will get an email. The email will have a proof, and you'll have about a 5-day grace period to 1, make any changes that you need to. 2, if you decide you don't want it to go out that month, you can deselect it so we don't send it on, so we do not send it out. The only caveat to this, if you are subscribing to the scheduled campaigns, you are going to have to put in your credit card information and actually save it in the system, because we are not going to send this out. We're not going to bill you till it's sent out. So you're not paying for the whole subscription at first. You are going to be billed as they go out. And it's the same cost as any postcard or mailable piece that we have in our system. So that's the latest and greatest, and a great way to just stay in touch with your sphere or do a simple, easy farming. All right. That kind of sums up ExpressDocs. Like I said, it really is fairly easy to use. Love to open it up, see if we have any questions. Maybe you've used this in the past, you have some feedback, something along those lines. But please, while you have me, let me know how I can help. And feel free to unmute yourself. And Wayne, if you don't mind, if anybody sends in a chat, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll just say that, I mean, obviously, I love that it's part of ERA, so it's easy for our agents to get to. Of course, I love the MLS connection, which, I mean, we on this call, we actually have a lot of our office coordinators and managers, which is awesome. And we're going to hope that, they'll be able to help, because now they're familiar with it. But, it's obviously anyone that's doing something, the easier it is, the better. So the MLS connection, I loved when you just mentioned the, just setting up their profile, just set up a default, make sure the picture is good, because then, they do one, it's done. They go in to do another one, everything's there. So I love that as well. So, in the last piece is really that scheduled campaigns. I mean, that's pretty cool to set up, whatever you want, however many you want, for the year, whether it's now or, every January you do it, and you just kind of sit back and go, hey, I'm sending 4 postcards this year as part of my, reach out to my sphere, to my neighbors, to, whatever. So, I do love that scheduled campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I always kind of mention with this is, I purchased my house maybe 6 years ago. I think you get a recipe card maybe around Thanksgiving from my realtor, but when I put it on the spot, I can't remember her name. So, it is important to stay top of mind with your sphere and things like that. So when someone asks who did you work with when you bought your home, it's there. It's, oh, I worked with Matt. He was great. Let me get you his information. So, something like scheduled campaigns keeps you in front of those people.
Absolutely. I love it. Anybody have any questions, any thoughts? We'll give you a second to unmute. Right. Well, I guess we're good, Matt.
All right. I must have done well, huh?
Yeah, well, for me, look, I've been in it and in things, so, but, I'll encourage everyone on the call now that, hey, we've been in it. We all have access to this. Hop in here, click around, check out each section, just be familiar with it. Our goal is to, to make sure our agents understand this is an awesome tool for them. And of course, having you guys familiar with it is just is so helpful. So.
Yes. And there's anything we can do to help? Ooh, I might have a chat. Let's see. I actually somehow found it.
Oh,
thank you, James. Well, hey, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Reach out to us. Sometimes when you kind of go through and you're following along, everything's making sense, but then you get in there and you have a question, don't hesitate to reach out to our customer service. They're in the same building I am. They're fantastic. They'll log into your account. They can spend as much time with you as they need, to make sure all your questions are answered.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt, for your time. It was awesome. And we'll definitely be in touch. So.
All right. Sounds great. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday. It's Tuesday, awesome. Right? I lose track of days these days.
Yeah, no, I always pause for that too. So yeah, it is Tuesday.
I know I was supposed to be working today. All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.